right, guys, welcome to the show. I've got two awesome guests today, and these are like two of the best, most underutilized actors in Hollywood. And so I am thrilled to have you guys both giving me your time to jump on this and talk about the show. So in no particular order of magnificence, over to my left, you've got the amazing April Hartman. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. April plays Jessica on the show, and we're going to definitely talk a little bit about that. And she is now in New Mexico, living the dream out there. So glad to have you on. And then down we've got the notorious Mr. Ray Hurd. How are you, dude?
Notorious, like B.I.G.
And it would fit you too, because you're huge.
So tall.
I mean, you're one of the few people.
I had to pick April up in one of those episodes, and
you
did. We did before,
and you made it.
And it was like he was picking up like a pencil, like he was because he's so tall.
Yeah.
Like, what are you, 7 foot?
Close enough. 6'10".
6'10".
Just a 2-inch difference. So yeah.
Yeah, that's why when I stand next to you, people are like, "Are you guys on your way to destroy the ring?" And I'm like, you know.
Yvonne and Bubba Ray,
Yes.
Dudley boys.
Awesome.
Oh,
well, guys, this is
don't laugh too hard, Chason, because I snort when I laugh.
But that's so funny.
Sorry.
It's all right.
So this is episode 4 of the podcast, and by this point, we didn't really know when we started making these things how PureFlix was dropping out the show. We were under the impression they were dropping one a week. And then, surprise, surprise, they just did them all at once, which is great for a lot of people because they got really excited about that.
They get to binge.
But yeah, so like at this point, everybody's seen the whole show, but we're going to kind of just talk a little bit about episode 4. But really, I wanted to have both you guys on here to just talk about your characters in the whole season. And we won't necessarily give any spoilers, but at the same time, I kind of want you to talk about your characters and so on. So I've got a few questions for each of you. And so I'm just going to jump around there. And if you guys have a question, feel free to jump in and do the same. But let's go to you, April. I'd like to start because your character is Jessica the therapist, which you do an amazing job. Just a phenomenal job. And so I just thought before we really dive in there, can you tell me a little bit about your story, about how you became Jessica, and then like how you ended up back with this season, and just like I can't even remember all the way back, but I thought maybe getting your memories on it would be interesting.
Well, I first became Jessica in Breakers when Chason put me through a grueling audition process.
Was it really that bad?
No, it wasn't.
Okay, I was like,
it wasn't at all. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. It was actually a pretty awesome audition, though. I think I don't know. I just had a good time. Anyway, so got Jessica in Breakers, and then I don't even know how many years ago did we do that? 4?
It's gotta be 4 years ago when we started that gig. Yeah.
4. Okay, and then fast forward to now, or last year, Chason says, "Hey, I want to bring Jessica back for this other series." And I'm like, heck yeah.
Yeah.
Why not? Because I'm a great therapist.
You are, though. Like you are legit good. Like I watch your footage and I think I would go to this therapist. Like she sounds like she'd be fantastic.
Believe it or not, that's what some of us think. It's like, yeah, she's that good. You're very believable.
Yes.
Which is so funny because in real life, if somebody tries to tell me their problems, I'm just sitting there going, "Oh God."
Yeah, well, so when we got you for again, so and Breakers was like the original show that we did, and then Guardians is kind of like the, if you take the show, rebrand it, and kind of go somewhere new with it, that's what Guardians is. And so we're going to go back and we'll rebrand the original Breakers as Guardians as well. So in the end, it'll all be Guardians, and that's how shows evolve, I guess. But it was interesting because when we first started using April for Jessica, you had this great, part in the first 3 episodes, and you were kind of around, but you were just doing therapy. And then when that show kind of kicked off after that, like your character kind of grew and grew and grew and was all over. You had action sequences with Ray, and
with Ray,
it really got to see your range as an actor, and it was just phenomenal. Like you just killed it. And my one regret that I really have of this season of Guardians is that we only had 5 episodes and they're all very short. And I really had to rein it in on what I wanted to do, because there's just no time. And so I really felt like your character doesn't really get to do a whole lot yet in this show, but I've really insisted that you were in it. I was like, I got to bring her back. She's got to be in it. I got to place this little cookie there because it's coming back. But yeah, I'm sure the people who are the original fans of Breakers are probably wondering, like, what is going on? Like, this is weird.
Yeah, right.
She was so bad that they just had to cut. No. You know what? This is what happens. This happens all the time. You'll see a character come up in a series or a show, and then all of a sudden they're gone or not there so much. And it's an evolution of a show, right?
Yeah.
And you kind of have to go with it. And it's not like any actor I know anyway is going to go, no, it's too small. I'm not coming back. No, we're happy for the work. We love the characters we play. Jessica she was so much fun because, like you said, got to go from that, okay, therapist, very serious, I'm going to help you, to having these action scenes and getting to scream and cry and, be strangled or have a bag put over your head. I mean, those are fun things to do as an actor.
It was very intense.
Yes. I forgot about that.
Oh, man.
That was an intense moment. Yes.
How did you forget about that?
Didn't I have to order that hit?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're so mean.
Yeah.
No, those things are great. And like I said, for me, I don't care. I don't care about the size of the role. Who do I get to work with? Is the role, is it good? Is it interesting? And I'm in.
Yeah. Well, you do have a couple pivotal moments. We won't give the spoilers away here on it because I wanted to mention something. So I'll mention it off screen for the next episode. But yeah, your character does do a lot of work here, and it is an interesting character in the sense that you're talking to Jack and David, which is of course James and Grant, and
Yes.
You have a lot of interesting things that you do with them, and you're listening. It is a very interesting place to be because you're actually hearing these guys, their struggles with what I think is very real problems that I think anybody can relate to.
Oh, for sure.
But you play it again. I mean, your character and your advice that you give and kind of what we're doing with that is, it's really fun to watch. And it's also a critical, I don't know if you noticed when you watched the premiere, but it's a critical breathing. Like, I need the audience to breathe. And it's a nice spot when they have these times with you because they do feel very intimate. They feel it's very quiet, that there's just great little scenes that happen in there that allow there to be a little flexibility in the tempo of the show. And it's a critical thing.
I also love what you did in editing of it, how it seems like Jessica is either always setting something up or starting something. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Well, but I think, if you think back to Breakers, I think she also did that there too. And so
yeah, that's true.
I think it's just your amazing wisdom.
Well, I do what I can.
Yeah. Now, when you play the role of Jessica, and again, you're being a therapist, and obviously it looks very simple, right? It looks like just two people having a conversation. But having been there and filmed these conversations, I really feel like there may not be as simple to do that as maybe it plays. So just tell me, like, is it harder to play this than it looks, or is it just really easy?
That's an interesting question. And I will say, for me, my easiest roles to play are the crazy person or the extreme, she's psycho or grueling, like I did with Jessica, getting choked or suffocated or physical stuff. Those are my favorite and so easy for me. But scenes like this, believe it or not, are harder for me because I'm an actor. I have a little bit of ADD. Okay. So there are those moments where you're sitting there and you're looking at the other person and you're thinking about, what am I going to have for lunch tomorrow? Or did I make that appointment? So it takes focus. And for me, and the technique that I've always used is just finding the substitution and putting that in front of you and saying, okay, who is this? And what's my objective here? What do I want? how am I going to get there? So it's kind of having to put all that stuff in place and stay really rigid with it is what I have to do.
Yeah. Well, it comes off so smooth. Like it looks like you've done this for 20 years being a therapist. Like it plays but I just feel
An
like
actor, but not a therapist.
but those scenes, I know that they're much more difficult to do.
Yeah.
Because it's all like these tiny little nuances and things that you do with your face. And there's sequences or a couple shots, I think, in episode 5 where you just did a slight eye thing. I don't even know what I would call it. There's just like a slight movement that you did in an eye that I liked. And it's because the rest of the scene was so still that you just notice it. And it's just those little things. And like in big sequences where you're running and you're arguing or you're yelling, it's easy to just let the performance do its thing. But when you're actually filming somebody who is listening to somebody, it's all in the face. And it's just I definitely felt like it can't be as easy as it looks. Like there has to be a lot more that goes into that.
It's really not. And all I can say is, man, I had a great acting coach who would nail me on that all the time. Hey, you're not listening. You're just waiting to talk. You're not listening. What do you say? And I'm like, so it's just training it too, and just being consistent and loving what you do, man.
Yeah. Well, I will say every time I told the guys, obviously that we were getting you back, they were all excited to have these scenes with you. Like, oh, we love April. So you've got a reputation. So that's good.
They're all so awesome. I love this cast, man. You really hit the jackpot with these guys.
I know. I just gotta get Ann Byer back, and I gotta figure out how to in the multiverse or something.
Yeah, really. Yeah.
Yeah. Before I move off of you, April, I did want to ask. So, based on the original Breaker season and now Guardian season that we just did, where would you like to see Jessica go in the future?
Man, I would really like to see more of how she evolved and did her thing in Breakers, because when that first started, you just, like you said, see a therapist. And then you see her evolve into this person of, oh, this is what we're doing. Okay, well, let's go.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see her just be, get back to that.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to give anything away, but I know why she's not that anymore.
Right.
But I'd like to see her make that evolution again. So it almost becomes a thing of, oh, this other person is really who she was meant to be.
Yeah.
Right.
I definitely think that I would love to see a lot more of that as well. And I think it was a temptation to jump the gun with some of that early, but it was like, I'm a big, proponent of, if you can't do it the way you want to do it, don't cheapen it, so.
Right. No, not at all. And that doesn't necessarily mean like she's in it. Just, I'm not over here advocating, put me in. I'm just saying in a more, that sounds, I just thought about it in my head. Oh my God, that sounds very ew. Vain? No. I don't know. I'm just saying to see that evolution of her again.
Yeah.
Even in snippets here and there, I would love that.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited. I'm excited to see what we can do. And I'm definitely hoping for another bigger season, and a little longer in the episodes would be awesome too, just because you need some room to work these things. You can't just throw it up there. But
for sure. I'd like
to jump over to you, buddy, and just like kind of what April just did with Jessica. Your character is also recurring from the original Breakers. Where you played the character Chubbs, and then now you're back playing Chubbs again. And so I just thought, tell me a little bit about your story, like coming to this character and how that came about.
When you were asking Jessica asking April about Jessica, because it's funny, because when you're on the set, most of the time you're thinking about the person based on the character name, and I'll go in calling them by their character name. So it's like when we get off set, if I say, hey, Jessica, what's going on? It's like, what? You know what I mean? But so anyway, I was just really glad to get the call, and when you said I was coming back, I was like, oh man, cool. I didn't just go to jail or something strange, from the first one. And you know, I mean, heck, I mean, almost died by explosion, self detonation, or deletion in Breakers. So it's just so I'm clear, Breakers is there are no spoilers for Breakers, right?
I mean, I figure there's no spoilers for Breakers. Breakers is already existing, so people have already. Now
Okay, cool.
It's supposed to be being pulled down, and it's rebranding to Guardians here.
Guardians, okay.
And there's some minor cuts and things that we're going to do to it, but in the meantime, people have already seen it, so yeah, you can't really.
Okay.
You know, I mean, now we are getting a lot of new faces to the show, so you might not want to give away too much. You know, I don't know. I don't know what
Ray's about to spill the beans.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert! If you don't want to have it ruined, you know, pause it, move forward a few minutes, and then come back in.
Okay. Well, yeah, going through that initial interview process, you didn't grill me at all. You just more or less, you had this straight face about you where you just didn't show any emotion whatsoever. And it was funny because
that's true.
If it wasn't for the person that, you know, greeted me in, the person that you had helping you at the time, it was like I would have no clue whether or not, because he was so straight faced. He was just even keel. He did the audition and he had me read. Why I started the audition, I think I auditioned for Mills first.
Yeah,
I think that's what you had me audition for, because I wasn't sure what to go for. So I think it was Mills first, and then you said, well, hold on, who's the read for this other one? And then you pulled out Chubbs, and so I did it. Where you just looked at me and said, okay, thank you. And then you turn around and walk off, you know.
Yes.
And I was like, you know, he had this general, you know, like he's just,
very
you know,
much.
Thank you, Admiral. We'll be seeing you next week or whatever, you know. And so he turns around, walks off, and I'm like, did I get it?
Yes.
You know, is he cool? And so I come out, and then your helper comes out and he says, hey, he never asked anybody to read for anybody else, you know, so he asked you to do a second read. You got the role. You got the role. And then they go back, and I was like, oh man, you know, so it was just a huge weight off.
We gotta pause this podcast real quick. We're gonna switch topics. Now I gotta know. Okay, so here's the deal. I don't spend most of my time on the other end of the camera, right? I don't get to do that very often. And so for me, it's more of I'm the behind the camera guy. So I try to be real professional about things as best I can. And I've been getting this story from actors about how, you know, I'm that way when I do auditions. And I don't know what's the normal, because I've also seen it the other way where they're like, oh man, you did amazing. You did awesome. Yay. And then they leave and they don't get the call back or anything. And then people are crushed. And then, and I'm also thinking the other end of that coin where they're just total tools and they treat you like crap. And I don't want to do that either. So I've always thought I'm going to be professional and just make it, you know, thank you, and let them go out and then, you know, call or whatever. But so many people are like, I didn't think I was getting the part. He said nothing. His face was just nothing.
Monotone.
So I'm like,
yes,
great blank face.
Guys, do we need to change our auditioning processes? Do I need to put more smile into it?
No.
No.
I think you did good. It left a certain ambiguity to the process. You know, so it's like, as an actor, you're always, you know, you're putting yourself out there. You know, it's kind of like, you know, you're literally wearing your emotions on your sleeves, on both sleeves, as you walk in to perform. So, you know, you're always hoping, please like me, like me. And, you know, so it is a very emotional experience, you know, when you go in for an audition, and all you can hope for is that you left your best on the table, and hope for the best. And so when you have the type of reaction you had is not bad. It's just different. Yeah, it's very different from what I've experienced. I mean, I've had people do exactly what you said. You know, they're like, "Oh man, that was really good," and then you could tell they're gonna make the, you know, recommendation or whatever, and then, you know, I believe I told you that story before. You know, I went through that with Black Panther. So it's like, you have that opportunity. They tell you all these great things, and then you still don't get the, you still doesn't come through. So it's like, oh, okay, well, but they liked you. You just don't, for some reason it didn't work out. But I was really cool with the process. It worked out well. You were just different. That's all. You have your way, and your way.
Well, maybe different's good. I don't know.
Yeah,
I will say, as an actor, I would rather have you do that than the others.
Right.
Because like Ray said, it is so emotional. And then listen, I've been doing this so long. I know when I go in an audition room and that person, casting director, whoever it is raving about my performance, I leave upset because I'm like, I didn't get it.
Yeah.
It never fails, ever.
Yeah.
And then if I leave going, that wasn't either good or I couldn't read them. Not 9 times out of 10, but I end up booking a lot of those. And so I would rather have somebody that is just deadpan and different. Like, don't let me know anything because then I can leave that audition and forget about it. Right.
Right. Well, because that's how I felt.
Well, weirdly enough, because I've had to do a part before where, there are people not even looking at you and they're just, they're messing with stuff. And you're like, in my brain, you just start having these things where you're like, I just wish I was a million other places right now because this is just, and it's just, it can be a miserable experience. And when I'm leaving, I would think to myself, I just want to forget this as soon as possible. And then I've also been on the other end where I'm auditioning people. And then some people are like overly either maybe flirtatious or just very just like over the top trying to get a part. And then you want to
does that happen?
Oh yeah. And it can get awkward, And so I've found over my time, like, one, if everybody leaves here and forgets it ever happened, then that's great. But then for the handful of people that you're like, oh yeah, they're like, this person got the part. Like, then I want to get back with them real quickly so that they know. But then everybody else, I'm like, I give you my attention. I focus on you. I'm going to work with you. I also do a thing where I might hate it, but it's like, I will let you do it twice. Some people, you get one shot. I will always do twice. And I always am purposeful about it because whatever you do the first way, I will give you a direction that is completely different than whatever you just did, even if I don't need it, just to see, can this person actually act or did they just memorize this little thing? And you get that many minutes of my focus. And then after that, thank you. I'll see you later, and then, and I feel like for me, it's the easiest way for no one to get too hurt over anything. And, but it is amazing how many people leave there and like, I didn't get it. Chris Clinton thought he didn't get it. We just did a podcast where somebody else was like, I knew I didn't get the part. I was over. I was like, man, I can't believe I missed it. And then he called me and it was like, I was like, dude, you look so horrible while you were auditioning. And so, I don't know, maybe I'll wear a mask from now on. I don't know. We'll see.
No. I'm with this. Like, I'm with April. You just have your expressionless demeanor is probably the best way to take it, because I don't know, and it's like, and you can just kind of, okay, well, I guess I didn't get it, or I'm not sure. Yeah. We'll just see, to me, that's better than you coming over, shaking my hand, practically hugging me and telling me that was so great, and then never calling me. I would take the first one over there. Over there.
Exactly. And but when we mean like just straight, we're not saying it's still very polite.
Oh yeah, you're not bad. Yeah,
no, I don't give you anything. I know it's there. Yeah. It's got my poker face. I am actually freakishly good at poker, and that's probably why. But whatever. All right, let's return back to the podcast now. So if you skip this whole part, guys, then just come in here. All right, so we're talking about Chubbs. So we get Chubbs back, and I had this whole backstory figured out for how Chubbs is in Guardians. Maybe one day we'll do a flash and kind of deal with that because there's a cool little thing for that. But I do want to talk about episode 4, which is the one that that we're here for, because this is for me the big Chubbs scene of this Guardians mini little series we just did, and it's one of, if not my favorite scene of the entire show, like by far. It was also the most work to edit of most of the shows. And then you'll have to listen to the podcast and hear Cassie's take on it, because Cassie actually won the magical ingredients for this scene. So don't forget to check this out, because she's got to tell her that, the story of that. But the Chubb sequence here it's just epic. I love everything about it. And I just want to know, like, it's taking Ray Hurd, normal fun guy, and putting you in the most intense situation and having you play it out. And I just want to know, like, just tell me about this experience of playing this particular scene with the bomb under your chair and just that whole thing. Tell me about it.
I mean, it was intense. I wasn't sure initially how to approach it. I was just more or less like, because the character is typically a cool, calm, collective character, and to put him in a situation where he's not in control, when generally that's the way he operates, that was a difficult step, to try to maneuver through. So I was like, okay, how would I, if I'm coming from that world of controlling everything and now I am completely out of control, how much would it shake me? And would I have a poker face, to steal from what you said before? And I'm thinking that generally that's how I would approach it. I play tough, but I'm crapping in my pants, at the same time. It's like, this is bad. So it was a lot of fun to do. It was difficult with all the takes to try to keep the emotion, of it all. So, I'm trying to, especially as I was hoping, and you did me a solid. You didn't make me have to repeat I guess the most intense point of the scene. Too many times. It wasn't like I did 50 takes of that, or even 5. I think we got it in 3 takes. I think it was about 3 takes. So I was like, yeah, this is cool, because I don't know how many times I could do this particular part of it. Yeah. But the rest of it, as we were going through it, it was just like, oh yeah. And and then the cold rag on my head, to induce the sweat.
Yeah. Putting
so I'm freezing.
Water on you between
I'm not actually, the sweat was freezing water. So and it was cool. It was pretty cool in there anyway, because the freezers and stuff. So, I'm just like, oh my God. And then I had this, that particular shirt it's very, it's not absorbent at all. So it's supposed to absorb the sweat. So they had to keep doing it. So that way it would so they had to press it into my fabric, because the fabric was designed in such a way to not absorb water.
Yeah, it'd be great to have a wardrobe person, wouldn't it? Like,
so it was, it was so crazy. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh man, this is really bad. So she's steady having to, squeeze it into my shirt and everything. So yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, being with Chris and James, that was a cool scene. I was not expecting that, even though we get the scripts and everything. You don't always know until you get there, and then you get on the set and then it's like, oh, this is how messed up this is, whatever the case may be. So yeah, that was a really intense scene, but a lot of fun to do.
It was so good. It was so good.
It's a really solid scene.
Because Chason knows I tend to be kind of hard on myself, and I was thinking, this is really bad. This is really bad. And so as I'm going through it, I'm looking at everybody, and when I turned and I saw some of the crew, and they looked at me, and it was like they had their hands together, and they were like, it was a look they had on their face, and I was like, was it good? And they were like, yes, that was so good. And so I was like, okay, well, all right. Based on the reactions, I'm like, okay, if they say it's good, I'll have to go with it.
Yeah. Well, this was the first day with filming with James. I had already filmed the day with Chris, but James had just gotten into town. And so this was his first, and it was the first big long day where we started early. We had Chubbs' scenes earlier that are in the rest of the episodes. There, and then we came to this scene, and like, there's always this day where you have to, like, there's a mental thing that you have to get over where you almost like it's like this isn't going to work. I'm going to totally bomb this thing. There's no way this is going to work, and you just got all this pressure to get this thing done. And I had my moment. I have to step away for a second. I have to have this little moment where I just let the panic just, and then you just put that thing back in a box, save it in your chest for a rainy day. But then we came out for this scene. And I was like, all right, I don't, man, we should have like eased our way into this. And like, we're just going from 0 to 100 right here. And, but no, I remember so clearly, cause like we were trying to get you to where you needed to be. And the first couple of takes was just like, let's, like, we're just, you're there, whatever. And then it was like, all right, what I need is this. And we started to see it. And I was like, this. And then you just did it. And it was like we had it on the close up and everything. And you're just doing this scene. And that's the one where everybody in the whole place was like not moving. And then the end of that part, and I was like, cut. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, like this is like legit. And like that's when I'm like, all right, we got him. We're good.
It was really still.
We reached the level we needed to get to. Like it took us a while. We were on like 5 for a bit and then 6. And I was like, we got to keep going, get it there. And then when it finally gets there, that scene is intense. Like, it's on Chris's face, James, like it just plays so freaking well. Super proud of it. Super proud of you. Proud of the guys. And just that whole scene, one of my favorites. And then just like with the music and everything, there's like this little ticking that just happens, and over time it speeds up a little bit more, and it's great.
I've got neighbors that have already seen it. And they're like, and their kids, the kids know me, and they're like, "Oh man, what happened?" Like one of their youngest daughter, she didn't understand. She was like, "How did he get stuck in the TV? How did he get stuck in this situation? Like, why is this bomb on? What is going on?" And so they're like, she's freaking out, and they had to tell her, "No, baby, it's okay. He's all right. He's safe." And then the oldest kid, when they see how it all ends. And the little move I do, they're like, "Oh, that's why he's always working out over there in the gym." They see me working out in my garage. Like, that's why he's always working out, because he's got to do this kind of stuff, Yeah. So Then you put me on I had to put my track shoes on, for I guess an undisclosed scene, portion of the scene. So that was fun and scary at the same time, because it was really slick in there. So,
Well, I did love writing the scene for 2 reasons, and you already kind of mentioned it. Just one, because Chubbs does like to be in control, and you're not in control. Right. And 2, you're a big guy with a lot of power, and I can find you where you can't move to a chair. And it wasn't until we got there that I realized that either that was a wonderful decision, or it was going to backfire and be a horrible decision. But fortunately it paid off. But I was like, put the big man with power in a chair where he can't move with no power and see what happens.
So all I'm thinking is Murtaugh, Lethal Weapon. I'm just like, what do you do? And then how long have I been sitting here? You know what I mean? Can I run? Can I get up? What can I do? So it's just, it was fun to actually be that guy. Yeah. So I didn't think I was gonna have fun being strapped to a bomb. Yeah.
Well, no one ever does until it happens. So so like I did with April, where do you want to see Chubbs go in the future here?
Honestly, kind of like I was gonna say when you asked her that, I was like, she was in Breakers, she was a part of the gang. You know what I mean? She was like really involved, actually going on missions with them, which of course got her in trouble with my character, but it was cool,
Yeah.
It's like and ultimately, to be honest with you, I would like to be a kind of an anti-hero, like a part of the gang, but in a capacity where it's similar to the way it went down in the show, but just at the same time a part of the gang. It's like, okay, I guess I gotta do work for the good guys now. I gotta do, you know what I mean? Because he's a bad guy, but in my mind, the way I've always seen his character is that circumstances are what put him in this position. He just decided the world is the way that it is, and in order for me to survive, it's best for me to be on top of the hill. and I got to do what I got to do, considering the way he came up and the way, because Mills could have very well been that guy.
You could,
you know what I mean? Considering the way he was in Breakers. I mean, they had this backstory where, well, I'm not. Am I messing up?
You're fine.
Okay. All right. Because it's out. So I'm like, they have this backstory where these characters were in some ways cut from the same cloth, but then go two different directions. So, and that's a very real thing. I mean, it's like, if you consider, I heard a pastor say this once, but for Christ, that could have been me. You know what I mean? It's like, it's very easy. It could have very easily been you that got locked up or went this direction, especially if you guys were together from the jump. And forgive me for this skipping and jumping, but if you were together from the beginning. So yeah, I'd like to see them, become frustrating friends, so to speak. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Getting on each other's nerves. Oh, I got to work with you again. Really?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll definitely have to do something like that.
That's great.
Just to end this part with a funny story. So I was actually back at the storage place here a week or two ago. And, April has been, you filmed the commercial for them before, but now you're in New Mexico.
You mean the place where the bag was put over and all? Oh,
yes.
wow.
So I actually brought Chris Clinton with me to come and shoot some of this commercial. I was like, come on, buddy. And so I'm setting the camera up down the hallway, I'm getting it all ready to get his stuff. And I look over and he is standing, picture Chris, giant Chris, he's standing there and he's got his finger out and he goes, this one is mine. And this one.
Right.
And he's walking down the hall and this one is mine. And he quoted the entire scene standing there in the storage place. And I was like, man. So yeah, he would have been believable, Chubbs.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Cause didn't he audition for Chubbs first?
I can't remember. I probably did it. I did the same thing to him that I did to you where
I think you did.
You were never gonna be Mills. I knew right up front, mainly if I'm honest, is because one, I wanted Mills to be a little smaller on purpose. I never want my hero to be as big as the person that they're against. But I think I had him read for the bad guy and you read for the good guy and then switch it all up and just different things like that. But
because you had me read for Mills initially, and I thought I'm going for the cop. And then I'm pretty sure he told me that he read for Chubbs. And then the next thing you know, boom, we flipped around.
Well, I kind of wanted to see, is this character believable if they're trying to be noble versus is Mills' character believable if he is pushing a limit? Like, where could I see? And I wanted to see the range. And so it ends up playing really nicely because Chubbs is not straight up, full on 100% gangster evil at all. That's not his character. And Mills is, while he's a cop, he's got his own stuff that he's got to deal with. So it's a fun play.
So I understand now. There's no nobility. That's what it is. It boils down. I just didn't have the nobility factor.
I think that you said it, along Chubbs' journey, at some point he comes to the realization that the only way to live life is to look out for yourself because no one's going to do it for you. Right. And so all your decisions are, it's me, man. Look out for number one. And that's your whole rule. And so that's the Chubbs rule. That's the only reason that Mills is any different is that one rule.
That's the way the game is played.
All right, guys. Any questions, things you want to talk about that I've skipped over or abandoned?
How was it? I'm sorry. Go ahead, April. Go ahead.
No, go. I didn't really have a question.
Okay. I was just going to say, how was it having the boys do so much helping you, to help you with this process? Because on my day, on that eventful night that we're talking about, Judah and
Cohen.
You had Judah, and Cohen, doing. You had Judah doing the sound, and I think you had Cohen,
Cohen was helping Nathan with sound,
Right. So they were both doing something, you know what I mean? Trying to keep us in line. And Judah was just really getting into it. And he's just like, all right, next take, and he's just, and he's starting to look like a pro. He's got a belt or something on, And I was just, me and Chris are just over there cracking up, like, look at him, man. He's becoming a little pro, he's a little Chason. And so, so it's like, how was it for you, filming Now you did some work before. I think we did. What was another film we did where Cassie was doing a lot of work with you?
Sure,
Now you
Pandemic.
got your boys involved. So how's that feel getting the family into
Yeah, well, so I mean, I wanted them to have kind of first hand, they've seen a lot of me leaving the house to go make stuff, but they've never really been super involved, and they kind of wanted to both get involved, and they were excited to do it. So I just kind of wanted to, if Cohen's going to learn from somebody, Nathan Blaze, sound guy, is phenomenal. So like learn from him. And then, Judah, I didn't really have a whole lot of expectations. Like, run Slate, be helpful, help Sharan. I was like, be wherever Sharan goes, just be near her and you'll be good. She'll take care of you. Right. You can know what to do. And I just wanted them to see kind of what it takes, because they're always asking, they'll see me come home. And I mean, obviously filming is a beating when you're doing it. And so right. They don't know what's going on. So for me, I just wanted them to be there to kind of feel it. And they both have a little bit of sense of ownership now in the show. They kind of feel like they contributed. There's something to that. And like, they're proud of it. So when they see it, they're proud of, like, we, help make this thing. And so, for me, that's a great experience. And, it's a fortunate one to be able to do that with your kids. Now, if they grow up and they don't want to do anything with film, that's cool. I mean, I'm not trying to push it on them or anything. I have told them both, like, you can go work at Tom Thumb or you can go run sound. I guarantee you which one you'll enjoy more and will pay better.
Right.
So, right. Especially like they've come out with me on a couple commercials.
Good dad.
Yeah, I'm like, go learn this stuff. Like, these people are making way like ridiculous amount more than that. Yeah. And everybody needs a good sound guy. Like, that's, I mean, come on.
Absolutely.
Like people do not save money with the sound. Spend it.
Right.
So,
right.
And I was going to say that you gotta, the sound.
Yeah.
Yeah. April, you sound like you've seen something, because I know I have.
I've seen a thing or two.
Yeah. Yes. And I'm telling you, a score can make or break your film, okay? And it's like, and if your sound isn't right, just in simple conversations, it's like, what are we doing?
Yeah. It just takes you out of it. It takes you out of it.
Yeah.
Right.
So anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
One question. So I know that you write these episodes, and I'm not a writer. It just makes me want to scream. But so did somebody come to you and say, hey, here's kind of an idea, go with it? How do you come up with this? Because I'm just in awe of that. Like,
yes,
to write all of these episodes and all of these series and have it go all different directions, and this character, like, it really blows my mind.
I'll do a short answer for that as best I can, because some of it is just I enjoy thinking things through, and trying to think about. So, whenever you're right. So so for this season, originally, if Breakers had ever, garnered a weight before it became Guardians, I already kind of knew where we were going to go, roughly on like where I wanted to take it. And so then when Guardians came along, it was like, well, they basically wanted, PureFlix wanted Breakers, but they wanted not Breakers, but still Breakers. So it was like Guardians, and then like, let's mold it and package it in a way that fits a more PureFlix audience, mainly maybe more men and teenagers for PureFlix, because they're not heavy in those areas. And so they wanted to kind of grab that. And so I kind of had to take some of my long ago ideas and just say, well, what can you do in a much smaller scale? Because 5 episodes that are only 30 minutes, I mean, that goes so fast. And so you really have to dial it down. You don't get the great beeline stories that you get, that kind of like in the original Breakers, Jessica's character is a major beeline story, that's going on there. And so, but you have a lot more time with those episodes. So here it was more about like saying, okay, well, where do we take a show like this? And I just start with, what do people want? And so for me, I started with the 3 main guys that I knew were going to be in it, which was, the Jack, David, and Mills characters, and starting to say, like, where are they 3 years from now, from where we left them off in Breakers? And then obviously, what do they want? And then what are they most frustrated with? And so, and then when I did it, I was like, all 3 things have to be linked to each other, and they all have to antagonize one or the other of the three guys, so that you always have enough conflict to go around. So, James has this life, but kind of doesn't want it. David is struggling with completing what he thinks is his life, his mission, and yet he can't get the dude that's supposed to take his spot to take over it, and trying to control another person, which you can't do. Mills is accidentally here, and so he feels like he has no purpose, and he's not really part of this team. So he's just Mr. Loyalty to Grant, and at the same time, he's like got a brother with James, and so you've got these interesting problems that they're all facing. And so then it's like, okay, now you take that, and like that's what's really going on in their community world. And then you just place on top of them what's going on in the world around them. Like, what are the consequences for these actions? If you're going to be sent by God on these missions to do things, inevitably you're going to raise some attention. And I just wanted it to be on I wanted it to be on a much, much bigger scale, but with 5 episodes and with a small, tiny budget, you really have to rein it in. So I was like, all right, we're going to take a foot, you get a footprint of what we're going to do. And then just drop that in there and make their other things. So the story for me is a lot more about what the people are wrestling with. And so it's like, all right, you're going to start them in a certain spot, and then you need to end them at a certain spot. And they all three have to have some form of a completed arc where when the show ends, they need to be different than when they started. Now, not every character has to do it, but I knew with those three, that's where it needed to go. And so then it's just like, I had that conversation with Chris while I was writing it, just kind of preparing, because I was like, here's what I'm going to do, because people, wrestle with these different things especially on a spiritual, deal, like, and the idea of being called by God to anything. You can say, I'm called to be an actor, I'm called to be whatever. And maybe you are, and maybe that's a thing, but just because you are doesn't mean like things just become flowers and everything works.
Right.
Like it's filled with struggle. And then like, at what point does doubt come in there? And what point does, what point does this being like, okay, if this is calling, if this is what my life looks like when I'm called, like, dude, like I'm raised the little poncho flag, and then like, let's go do something else. Cause I'm tired. I'm beat up. Right.
Right.
And I think people, and especially people who've been in ministry and things like that, you've got to have had that thought before. Like there are days when it's just no longer worth it. And you're just like, oh my gosh, I'm so tired. I'm so beat up. What do we do? And in the meantime, it's like, if you stop, then you've got Grant in his line about people die, people get maimed, bad things are going to happen. And we stop that. We're a buffer for these things. And if we stop, we don't know what's going to happen. So that for me is really fun. And and it doesn't have anything to do necessarily with the villain or with the other parts of the show. The show is very internal struggles, and it's just easy to start writing that when then all your scenes are going to be to constantly play one of those. You're playing one of those strings, and you put it all together. And I know where it needs to end. I know what I need to set up for the next one. So I have to kind of plan ahead and put enough pieces in there where I'm like, all right, here's where I would go. And then that way, the future's kind of sort of got a blueprint to it. But yeah, like I have all these little drawings and little lines where I'm like, all right, I need to do this and I need to do this. And how do we, even having Chubbs back, like, there's a reason why you're back. And I had to be really intentional. Like, how did you get him back in the show? Like there had to be a way. You can't just magically be there, because that's not how the world works.
Right.
So yeah, so there's just a lot of just taking stories, and that's one of the things I really like to do is, I've got another story I'm working on right now that's not even this, and it's much more simple, and yet it's really fun because I always start with the thing like, it needs to be just a raw human thing that you're dealing with, and how do you deal with this? Like put this person, and then the rest of it becomes a setting and fun things that happen, but it's got to start with the internal personal thing that everybody struggles with that. And as long as you get something that everybody struggles with, then anybody can identify with this character. It doesn't matter if they're a woman, and they're, like a PureFlix audience is largely women, but women can relate to what the characters are saying, whether they're men or not. And I think at that point, then it becomes fun for everybody. It's not just it's a one-sided thing, or, it's just, or it's not a basic, you've seen a lot of those movies where, we just gonna rob the bank. We just need $1 million. Why? Well, we don't know. We're going to do awesome if we get this $1 million. Now let's do a heist. dun, dun, you know, and you don't really
Right.
care about the characters. You're like, well, maybe they get caught, maybe they don't. I don't care. But if it's not about something more, it's going to bomb. So anyway, that's me rambling, guys. I'm sorry. I'm just
it's interesting to me. Yeah, it's interesting to me, and I've always just, like I said, I'm just in awe of especially, I mean, you're writing it, you're directing it, you're editing it, right? Didn't you edit it too?
Yeah, we did a lot of stuff on this.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah,
and the score. Yeah, that's just a lot.
It's, again, well, and I said this on the podcast that you're not in. There's a lot of things I would love to never do again. But I did. That being said, it's the only way. It's kind of like the Steve Jobs. If you can't hire somebody that's good enough to do the job right, then you just do it yourself until you can hire somebody that can do it right. And so I just have it. There's a rhythm and a flow, and there's things, and every now and then you'll meet somebody and like, okay, this person gets me. I don't even, you know, they're going to know what I want before I want it. And then, you know, like, all right, I'm good. We're gold on that spot. So it's just maybe finding that spot. But yeah, like, and on a show like this, we didn't really have, you know, the money to, you know, it's not like I could have been like, all right, I've got 3 editors over here and we got a CD over here. No, there's none of that. Like, there's like our credits are like 5 seconds. Like, it's over, you know?
Yeah.
Oh man.
So, anyway,
Canon Pictures budget.
Yeah. So anyway, we do what we can, but I do enjoy, like, for me, it's as long as you're telling a story, it's fun. I would never work this hard on a commercial. After a while, I get totally burned out because who cares about, you know, a phone or whatever. But when you're telling a story, it all becomes important. Every cut becomes very important. The way it looks becomes very important. The music behind you sitting on a bomb becomes extremely important. You can't just put the wrong thing there or else it won't work, you know? And so you've got to be really, really on. And, you know, when you're writing it, like, I can hear you guys talking in my head. And like, I know how it's supposed to sound. So then when we're there, as soon as you start doing it, like, resonates. I'm like, that's it. That's what it was supposed to be. And it falls into place and it works real good. And it looks like, you know, it was never written. It looks like that's what your character would say. At least to me, and it does. So anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, cool.
I think so.
Thanks for letting me ramble.
It's already on the page. It does help that it's on the page where we don't necessarily, when you don't necessarily have to find it, because often as an actor you're having to find what the character is really trying to say in a scene, and you don't, if it's already there, then you don't really have to. It's just more or less finding the best way to say it or perform it. You know what I mean? It's like it makes our job easier when that's the case. Although it is kind of, it can be a challenge too, because you're used to finding it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Saying April is like, you know, trying to find it, but if it's there, it's there, you know, and it works. So far it's been that way, and I've enjoyed it. You know, I'll see the script and it's like, oh, okay. And it's just more or less trying to find the best way to convey that feeling or that emotion, which is a lot easier than trying to find the words.
Yeah, for sure. And I think especially with this cast and in working with them, they make it easy to find it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Is that kind of what you were saying?
Right.
Because everyone is so good in their character and they are that character. It's just easy to be there and be yours.
Yeah. Right. Well, and that's another reason I do think you guys are
to have a conversation, you know, except for that's mine and that's mine.
Yeah. No, but no, seriously, it is a total blessing with the cast. And it's because everybody comes to the table intent to not screw up and not let anybody else down. And so the caliber just goes up. Everybody they're not only going up, but they are all, like, I think everybody helps each other now, which is fantastic. Like, they're working it like ahead of time with each other. They're like talking it through, and it's really great. Like the talent is really great. It's great. So I'm super proud of everybody. Like, it's a phenomenal cast. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for coming on here and just answering some questions, having some fun. I look forward to doing this again and filming again and all that kind of stuff. And so But yeah, can't thank you enough for just giving me your time and doing this. So thanks again.
Thank you. It was fun.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Till next time.